Anantaguti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gauda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath, Shyamakun Radhakund Giri Govardhana ki jai. Vrindavan Dhamma ki jai. Mathura Dhamma ki jai. Mayapur Navadip Dhamma ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Namaste Saraswati Chavane Shesha Shunyavadi Paschaja Deshatara. Again, thank you all for coming this morning. It is my pleasure, my privilege to share with you these wonderful, glorious teachings that Srila Prabhupada has so mercifully bestowed upon us. And I pray with all my heart and with all my soul that whatever I speak this morning will come from Krishna and go directly to your soul, and going there may fill you with transcendental peace, transcendental bliss, transcendental knowledge, and transcendental understanding, so that your lives may continue to progress in Krishna consciousness. Thank you. We will be speaking, for those of you who may have tuned in late, from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 15. Some talking going on there. Wherever. I think it's next. Yeah, thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Will we have the verse on the screen? You're getting it now? Okay. Tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. So we'll do the word by word first. Yat Pada Samshraya Sutta Munaya Prashamayana Sadhya Punanti Upasrishta Sraduni Apaha Anusevaya Yatpada Samshraya Sutta Munaya Prashamayana Sadhya Punantya Upashrita Svadunya Ponushevaya Yatpada Samshraya Sutta Munaya Prashamayana Sadya Punant Sadya Punant Upasprishta Svadunyapo Nusevaya Yatpada Samshraya Sutta Munaya Prashamayana Sadya Punant Upasprishta Svadun Yapo Nusevaya. Yes, please chant.
Yatpada Samshraya Sutta Munaya Prashamayana Sadhya Punanti Upasprishta Svadhunyapo Nusevaya Yatpada Samshraya Sutta Munaya Prashamayana Sadhya Punanti Upasprishta Svadhunu Aput Anusvaya Yatpada Samshraya Sutta Munaya Prashamayana Sadhya Punanti Upasprishta Svadhunyapo Nusevaya Yatpada Samshraya Sutta Munaya Prashamayana Sadhya Punanti Upasprishta Svadhunyapo Nusevaya
Mataji?
Yatpada Samshraya Sutta Munaya Prashamayana Sadhya Punanti Upasprishta Svadhunyapo Nusevaya
Yat. Whose? Pada. Lotus feet. Samshraya. Those who have taken shelter of. Sutta. O Sutta Goswami. Munaya. Great sages. Pashamayana. Absorbed in devotion to the Supreme. Sadhya, at once. Punanti, sanctify. Upasprishta, simply by association. Svaduni, of the sacred Ganges. Apaha, water. Anushevaya, bringing into use. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O Sutta, those great sages who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord can at once sanctify those who come in touch with them, whereas the waters of the Ganges can sanctify only after prolonged use. I should mention that the translation that I am reciting are the words of the different sages who are sitting in the assembly at Naimisaranya. So it is a collection of, they've simply put the essence of what different sages have stated here, not any particular sage. So please repeat. O Sutta, those great sages, who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, can at once sanctify those who come in touch with them. Whereas the waters of the Ganges can sanctify only after prolonged use. Purport. Pure devotees of the Lord are more powerful than the waters of the sacred Ganges River. One can derive spiritual benefit out of prolonged use of the Ganges waters, but one can be sanctified at once by the mercy of a pure devotee of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that any person, regardless of birth, as Shudra, woman, or merchant, can take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and by so doing can return to Godhead. To take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord means to take shelter of the pure devotees. The pure devotees whose only business is serving are honored by the names Prabhupada and Vishnupad, which indicate such devotees to be representatives of the lotus feet of the Lord. Anyone, therefore, who takes shelter of the lotus feet of a pure devotee by accepting the pure devotee as his spiritual master can be at once purified. Such devotees of the Lord are honored equally with the Lord because they are engaged in the most confidential service of the Lord. For they deliver out of the material world the fallen souls whom the Lord wants to return home back to Godhead. And that means all of you. Such pure devotees are better known as vice lords, according to the revealed scriptures. So that's a coined word by Srila Prabhupada. Often the word vice has two meanings. Vice can mean evil and wrong, but it can also mean assistant to the highest, such as vice president. So that is the meaning that is there. To be a vice lord means you a personal representative, personal assistant to the Lord himself. Just so that there's no confusion on that particular word. The sincere disciple of the pure devotee considers the spiritual master equal to the Lord, but always considers himself to be a humble servant of the Lord. This is the pure devotional path. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto his lotus feet, and thank him for the unlimited mercy that he has given me, and which I now share with everyone who is watching or just listening. Thank you so much for your attention. Again, I pray to you to offer your prayers for me before I speak. Please offer your obeisances. The deities are now exposed. I thank you. Please offer a few seconds of prayers that I may say something beneficial and helpful to all of us, so that this talk will have the stamp not only of approval, but of manifestation by Srila Prabhupada and Lord Sri Krishna. Then we will all be blessed if they agree to manifest through my speech. Without that, I feel totally helpless. Thank you. So again, let me just go over the verse again. O Sutta, those great sages who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord can at once sanctify those who come in touch with them, whereas the waters of the Ganges can sanctify only after prolonged use. That is very interesting. It shows you the great potency or the great power that the pure devotee has as a result of the mercy that he has been receiving from his spiritual master, as well as the line of disciplic succession, as well as the Supreme Lord, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. One who receives the mercy of these great, glorious personalities is extremely blessed. Blessed because he has received a flow of transcendence from the other world. And to the degree that he is blessed with this transcendence, to that degree can he sprinkle or drench or drown us with his mercy. As we know, every devotee carries a different degree of mercy. Very advanced devotees, and they just glance at you, and if you have not ever even known or come upon the path of God realization, it immediately starts. In other words, it's like he pushes you right onto the path, whether you like it or not. Because that's his power, that's his potency, that's all he stands for. It's a little like during the battle of Kurukshetra. Anyone who Krishna was looking at when they were killed, shot with arrows, hit with clubs, or hurt in the infantry fighting, or hurt while they were on elephants, anyone who died in the company of Krishna, and Krishna was looking at them or they were looking at Krishna, they all went back home, back to Godhead. Because Lord Sri Krishna's potency, his power, is so great that they could become transformed, even if they were enemies. Because the power of God, the power of his love, the power of his grace is so amazingly great that all impurities which are surrounding the soul, the lust and the anger and greed and envy, and the ignorance, the darkness from which that springs, all vanished. It is like if it was dark. Well, if we put all the lights out here, and before the sun came up, it would be dark. And if suddenly you turn the lights on, it's suddenly light. So similarly, when Krishna looks at you or you look at Krishna at the time of leaving, of departure, oh thank you, at the time of your departure from this world, then all of your darkness disappears in the same way that if you turn that switch, suddenly there's complete light. Now that's with Krishna. Now there are some persons, of course, not some, all persons, who of course do not have the exact degree of potency that Krishna has, because he, of course, is the Supreme Lord. Therefore, when you come in contact with a very advanced soul, like Srila Prabhupada or any persons on his level, then your path to liberation has already started. And if you're already on the path of liberation, as all of you are, then you make significant, considerable advancement just by being in his presence. But you can make even more advancement if you have a consciousness of his greatness. If you have a sense of deep appreciation, deep gratitude, deep surrender, deep submission. If you feel, my Lord God Almighty, how merciful you are that you are allowing me to be in the company of such a great and wonderful soul. I am so blessed and I am so gratified. And I can never thank you enough that I am in the company, in the presence of Srila Prabhupada or any great devotees. Yes, you can all feel your obeisances. The curtain has just closed. So anytime we get to see the deities, we are very, very blessed. It is not just we're seeing some statues there, but God is there. He's looking at us. He's giving us a chance. He's giving us a permission to enter His home here. This is His home. And the Supreme Lord of the universe has allowed us to enter. For example, if you go across the street and you go to one of the houses and you try to just open the door there, they will call the police. They say, "What do you want here? What are you doing?" He says, "Well, I just wanted to see your home." "Oh, what is your business here? Why do you want to see my home?" "Well, I'm just looking at the houses in this area, and I want to see how the different rooms are made." "Get out of here, you fool. We don't need people like you. I'll call the police if you don't leave immediately." But look at Krishna. Even though we have so many sins, so many offenses, so many wrongs, so many slights, so much inattentiveness, not taking the books as seriously as we should, not remembering Krishna during our job, during our day, not remembering when we wake up. He's doing so much for us, and we are forgetting. And yet still He says, "Come on in, come into my house." And you come in, He doesn't get somebody to throw you out like the guy across the street. He's not calling the police on you. He could do that. If He doesn't want you here, He can make sure that when you're just getting near the door, suddenly you trip and you can't walk and you don't make it upstairs. Krishna He's capable of that. And therefore we should always have this great appreciation that Krishna is honoring me by allowing me. I'm sorry. He's honoring me by enabling me to come into His holy presence. I know when I come to the temple in Los Angeles, New Dwarka, as I approach the temple, I have this feeling that we knock on the door. I don't know if you knock on the door here when you enter, but we knock on the door, and it's to let the Lord know that I'm coming in, even though maybe you don't want me in, maybe you detest my horrible presence. Nonetheless, you are so kind and merciful, in spite of my horribleness, you're letting me in because you know I need you so badly. You know I need your grace. I'm like a dirty little boy who needs a bath. And you, like a father, are saying, "Okay, come on in. You're filthy, but here, get into the tub." And Krishna is washing us with His glance. He's washing us with His smile. He's washing us with the flow of His eyes and His smile. And Srimati Radharani has her hand up like this, her right hand. She's giving us her blessings. In spite of all of our offenses, all of our sins, all of our wrongs, they say, "No, you are our children. And you are our children, therefore, even though you have gone astray, you have left, you have wronged, you have done so much, but because you are our children, you will always be welcome into our home because you belong to us and we belong to you. And we are tightly locked together eternally, even if you leave us. And when you leave us, we are always hoping and praying that you will return, because you are our children. We want to share our love with you. And we want to also enliven you. We want to see you dance. We want to hear you chant. We want to hear you sing. We want to hear you clap your hands. We want to hear you read about our glories and watch you become more and more purified as a result. We love watching you get cleaner and cleaner. We love watching you become more and more ecstatic. We love watching you become more and more peaceful. Our delight is to see you fully, completely satisfied, fulfilled, uplifted, truly exalted and exalted, to be happy and to be raised in consciousness. This is the desire and the pleasure of God. So I think we owe Him, at least when we wake up in the morning, "Thank you for another day, my Lord." At least, no? Yes. And if we form the habit, from that will come so many other nice things. Thank you, my dear Lord, for giving me another day, for enabling me to remember you. Because normally I don't remember you. The first thing I'm remembering, I'm tired, I got to take my shower, and then I've got to do this, and I've got to put my thing, I got to line up my work for today. No, Krishna first, all those other things can follow. My dear Lord, thank you for another day. I pray to you that I may remember you more and more today than I did yesterday. And I don't want to just remember you, I want to remember you lovingly. I want to remember you in deep appreciation. I want to remember you as my greatest well-wisher. Srila Prabhupada always would sign his letters, your ever well-wisher. That is a pure and true representative of Krishna. He's the ever well-wisher, as Krishna is our ever well-wisher. And when we show our recognition of this, Krishna is extremely pleased. You can ask the Lord after you, again, thank the Lord for reminding you of Him. Help me to become a pure devotee of your lotus feet. Help me to follow all the rules and regulations and the vows that I have taken. Let me not eat any meat, fish, or eggs. Let me not imbibe any form or any kind of intoxication. Let me not eat, let me not, I'm sorry, my mind is taking a blank, intoxication or gambling. Let me not get involved in any gambling. True, when I passed the mini mart and they sell the lottery tickets. Do they sell lottery tickets in this? Yeah. So please don't let me be tempted. Because once you buy for $1, next week it may be $2. And then the next week it may be $3. And the more you're giving, the more you're believing that, yes, I'm going to hit it big next week. So please don't let me gamble. To gamble means to want to get things easily, to want to not work. That is tamasic, mode of ignorance. You want to just give me, I'm the Lord, you just serve me. This is ridiculous. You get back to Godhead by service, not by wanting to be served. That's why we came into this world, to be served, and we became so miserable, that's why we come to the temple, to get out of that misery. So we don't want to perpetuate the idea of, yes, just let me get money without having to do anything. No, we should, work or service is not only an opportunity, but it's a privilege. It's a way to offer your heart to God. So I said no eating of meat or fish or eggs, and no intoxication, and no gambling, and no illicit sex. And there's so many temptations all around telling you, come on, enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. But by reading these wonderful books by Srila Prabhupada and developing high level of discrimination meaning what is useful, what is not useful, what is beneficial, what is not beneficial, what is helpful, what is not, what leads to God, what leads away from God, and any form of lust takes us away. Why? Sometimes people ask me, well, why? Well, God gave it to us, didn't He? Yes, He did. You wanted to be an enjoyer, so He gave you lust. But here is the rub. The more you engage in any kind of pleasurable activity, whether it be lustful activity, sexual activity, or some type of taste activity, or eyes or ears, but there is no form of pleasure which attaches a person more to this material world than lust. That's right out of the Bhagavatam. Why? Because the pleasure is so intense. And because we want to enjoy continuously. That's our desire, because originally, when we were in the eternal world, we were enjoying continuously. But because we wanted to be lords, we wanted to taste what it's like to be a lord and enjoy separately, independently of the Lord, so Krishna gave us this at our request. You want to be an enjoyer, want to be a proprietor, want to be the friend of all, want everybody to applaud you, bow down to you, look up to you, praise you, honor you. What is it worth? Useless. You can't take that with you. It's all ego. You have the imagination that you're more important. You have the imagination that you're God. Foolishness, ridiculous. And it leads to misery, because when people disregard you, don't look at you, don't want to have anything to do with you, and you're no longer God, then what? Emptiness, sadness, sorrow, intoxication. Go out, drink, so that you can get rid of your sorrows and feel giddy and happy and everything is okay. You see them at New Year's Eve just recently, people running on the streets, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. No, it should be miserable New Year, miserable New Year. It is miserable, but they're saying happy. They're lying to themselves. They want to convince themselves that they're happy, but they're miserable. That's why they're drinking, because they're going to work as a drudge. But for a devotee, working is a pleasure, because he's working for Krishna. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, do it for me, Krishna says. And when we do it for Krishna, when we are conscious of Krishna, when we're saying, before we even starting the work, I offer all this to you, Krishna, help me to remember you. I've got the picture of you right on my monitor, so every 10 minutes I'll look up and ask for you, please help me to keep remembering you. Then the work will be divine. Even though you're working for Amazon.com or Microsoft or any of these big giant corporations, doesn't matter. You're working for Krishna. And once you have that in your consciousness, firmly established, burned in, like you burn a CD, and then you have everything is on the CD, you put it in the computer, you can hear. So we should burn the CD of our mind with Krishna remembrance. And that way, if we remember, what will happen is that even when we're doing the work, in the back of your mind, we're saying, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Or you'll feel the presence of Krishna. Or you'll have the desire to look up at that picture. Excuse me. But it will become a habit. And it is not easy, believe me. It will take many years to cultivate that habit I'm talking about. Because we have already cultivated a very bad habit of not thinking of Krishna, because we want to think of ourselves, of our importance, of our glory, our greatness, our ability, our fame, our integrity, our morality. We want to think of ourselves as being okay, upstanding, righteous, important. But that's not the way to achieve God consciousness. Actually, you have to think the very opposite. I'm low. What does Lord Chaitanya says? One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Why constantly? Because when we are chanting it purely as a humble slave of the Lord, so to speak, a willing slave of the Lord, a loving slave of the Lord, it's ecstatic, it's heavenly, it's uplifting, it's fulfilling. It gives us a sense of freedom, a sense of connection with everyone and everything. It fills us with a happiness which we call transcendental. One who understands the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not take birth again in this material world, but attains to my eternal abode. So that is what we're striving for, to become transcendental. And even when you go to a material job, you Krishnaize it by bringing Krishna to it and understanding while you're performing that job that you're doing this for your beloved Lord Krishna. And this is internal. This is not something you show off to everybody. Oh, just see, I'm doing a material job, but I'm really involved with Krishna consciousness. You don't make a big show of these things. This is between you and Krishna. As soon as you make a big show, it becomes an egotistical activity. And you're doing it to be, for the same reason you came into this world, to be admired, to be adored, to be looked up to. No, we should never want to be looked up to, never want to be admired, never want to be venerated, never want to be bowed down to. Rather, our desire should be to recognize, I am a fallen soul. That's why I'm in this world. People may say I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I may have a PhD, I may have 3 PhDs, master degrees, but that's all of the material world. Krishna doesn't care about that. If you have no degrees, I gave that story of the Brahmin in South India. He had no degrees, he couldn't even read the Sanskrit, but Lord Chaitanya recognized him as a true devotee of God who understood better than any of the smarta Brahmins who were laughing at him because he couldn't pronounce the Sanskrit words or didn't even understand all of them. But Lord Chaitanya said, you are the true knower of the Bhagavad Gita. That's what he said. You know the Bhagavad Gita because look at those tears coming down your eyes. You're seeing how glorious Krishna was. Although he's holding up all the planets. He created all the planets. He's maintaining them, supporting them, protecting them, causing them to move in their orbits. He is so powerful. Just recently, the scientists, you may have seen it on the internet, they discovered in the Milky Way galaxy 15 billion universes, not planets, universes, in which planets the size of the Earth were rotating around those stars. This is what it says in the Vedas, in the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada keeps saying on his classes, there are billions of universes. When he says that, to be quite frank, I say, billions? I mean, I look up at the stars at night, and I say, yeah, I see some millions of stars there. But billions of universes? That's absolutely mind-blowing. And the scientists, they could see it even with their telescopes. So, Krishna has created all of this like a child just playing with a ball. For him, it is just sort of like a juggler juggling. He's playing, creating planets, destroying planets, meteors going through the sky, making these big holes in the earth at different places when they fall. These are playthings for Krishna. We can only sit and stand or amazed. How does he do it? How amazing. I throw myself at your feet. Even Arjuna, when he saw the universal form, he was stunned. He was amazed, astonished, surprised, shocked. He says, I've been calling you Yadava. You, like just by your last name, just like a pal, like a chum, like a guy. And here you are, you've done all this. Please forgive me. I should never have talked to you in such a way. Of course, Krishna wants to be talked to. Please offer obeisances again. The deity doors are open. For those of you who may not see it. So the point is this, we need to develop humility. We need to shed from our heart, from our mind, the idea that we're important. Now outside, sometimes people ask me this question, well okay, suppose I become so humble I'm just a zero. And Krishna now can enter into the space and manifest and work through me, and whatever I do will be the manifestation of Krishna's will. Fine. But what do I do when I come to my office? Do I go around offering obeisances to everybody in the job there? They'll think I'm crazy. Do I offer obeisances to the computer because Krishna has been so merciful to create it? This is his intelligence. When the vice president walks through, do you immediately say, all glories to the vice president, who is a reflection of the Supreme Lord? You'll be out of the job in a few hours. They will call the mental hospital, take you away. This guy has lost it. Or do you, when you're doing the computer programs, do you start writing Hare Krishna on top of all of them so that you're working, for example, Chase Bank, and you're doing a program for them, and then on the top you put Hare Krishna, please chant this, and your life will be sublime. And they read this, the executive is, what is all this? No, I don't mean that at all. You have to use some some intelligence and discrimination. This is an inner situation between, believe me, there are people who don't fully understand this, that it's an inner condition. It's an inner relationship. That's why Krishna says, I quoted that nice verse yesterday, a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized soul enjoys unlimited pleasure, for he concentrates on the Supreme Lord. So the whole point is that you have an inner relationship with Krishna. It's between you and him. It's like for you all married, you have a relationship with your wife which is intimate and personal. It's not something you go around discussing with anybody, talking about the things which are private. Similarly, your relationship with Krishna is private matter. We don't make a display of it. Of course, if you're having a problem, a personal problem, then it is good to go to a higher authority. That's part of our process. Giving gifts, accepting gifts, giving gifts, accepting prasad, giving prasad, revealing your mind in confidence and inquiring confidentially. So to someone whom you have trust in, whom you have faith in, whom you know is very knowledgeable and learned and can help you, who has gone over many of the obstacles you're presently going through. So yes, you can reveal to him, but as a private matter, as a confidential matter. Even Krishna says, this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Doesn't he say that right in the 18th chapter? So he says this is confidential knowledge. You don't just give it out. It should be given out carefully, thoughtfully, discriminately, with discretion. That way it will go to the right person and the right person will develop from it. But if you just give it, as even Jesus Christ said it very nicely, don't throw your pearls at swine, because they won't understand the value of it. And even we have in the 10 offenses to the holy name, one should not instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. He will mock you, he will ridicule you, he will offend you. So all this must be dealt with in a very confidential, non-egotistical way, just between you and God and you and your spiritual master or his representative. And in that way you will progress, and the ego, instead of getting bigger as it does in this world, will slowly but surely shrink, 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 shrink. And you will not be so concerned about whether people are honoring you, glorifying you, applauding you. Of course, Vaishnavas by their nature, they love to applaud others. So if somebody applauds you, please don't say, no, 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 no. That is wrong. So I see devotees doing this. They said, no, don't give me any gifts. I don't want this. I don't deserve it. This is all false and it's wrong. If a Vaishnava wants to express his love to you in the form of a gift, then it is your duty to allow him to express his love to you. That's his love to Krishna. But don't take it as if you deserve it. Take it as if it is a special grace by Krishna. So you thank the person and you thank Krishna. And you also, when you get the opportunity, you give also a gift. That's the 6 symptoms of love between devotees, giving gifts and accepting gifts. I remember in New Dwarka in Los Angeles, you would walk along the street, every few minutes somebody was coming with a cookie, with some cake, with some flour, with something from the deities, flame. Maha was coming left and right. You could not help but remember Krishna. I remember those days. Especially when some of the Maharajis who were, they're cake makers, and they would have all this carob icing. And they would come passing by. I said, is that Maha? So I remember Omkar Mataji. She says, yes. I said, can I take a little bit? She says, yeah, please. It's been offered already. So I take my finger and I go, wow. And I'm still remembering It was in 1976 that she came walking by, and I still remember today, 2013, that delicious, wonderful, it tasted like chocolate, and I was a chocolate freak when I was a child, so you can understand. This was my substitute. You come back to me, Krishna, in the form of chocolate, or at least carob. Good substitute. Thank you so much. I think we all had that habit maybe when we were younger. I know many people, they like this chocolate, Hershey bars and Snicker bars and Mars bars and all of those kind of things. So we give those things up. But Krishna knows that we like them, so he comes in a better substitute. Anyway, the important thing is to shrink the ego and to expand to expand our love to Krishna. You can't expand your love to Krishna unless you shrink your ego. The ego is saying, I'm the Lord. And the soul, in its pure state, says, you're the Lord. The ego says, you serve me. And the soul, in its pure state, says, I serve you. That's where we have to go. And we need to introspect. Every night before you go to bed, please take a few moments and says, how many egotistical things did I say today about myself? I did this, I did that. Now sometimes you have to do that. When you're working in the material world, a little different etiquette. Because let's face it, when you're in the material world, you do want to get ahead. You do want to make advancement. So it's necessary to let your supervisors know what you are doing, especially when you do something extra. You spend an extra hour or two troubleshooting, doing some particular job. Yes, they should know that. Because that will result possibly in a promotion. It may result, not that we're so concerned about that, but you have mortgages to pay on your homes. Promotion helps that, okay? You don't want to be sitting in anxiety, well, will they give me a raise or not? Let them know all of your good, but internally know, I offer to you, Krishna, and it's nothing compared to what I owe you. You have two lives going on, external life, internal life. Look at Ramananda Roy. How many have read this Chaitanya Charitamrita, at least some of it? You read it? CC? Yeah? Little, but some of it, yeah. So you must have read Ramananda Roy. He was giving instruction to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya used to go to hear from Ramananda. Of course, he knew all these things, but he liked to hear it from his devotee. Ramananda Roy, on the one hand, he was like a governor, doing all these external things. They were carrying him on a palanquin. He was giving orders, do this, do that, do this, do that, acting like a worldly person, but in his heart of hearts, he was completely functioning in full consciousness of Krishna on the highest level. So that tells us what we need to aspire for. Inner connection with Krishna. As I've already said, one who is not connected with the Supreme Lord in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. How can there be any happiness without peace? One who knows Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, the supreme friend of all, attains peace from the pangs of material existence. One who gives up all sense gratification, who lives free from, one who gives up all desire for sense gratification, who lives free from desire, who gives up all sense of proprietorship, and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain what? Real peace. These are right out of the Bhagavad Gita. I believe that's what I just quoted was from the 2nd chapter at the end. So peace comes from getting rid of that false ego, shrinking it. And we can do that by always not so much external, trying to put on shows, but internally always being at the feet of Krishna. Respecting venerable Vaishnavas, as it says here, by associating with them not only in person, but in our mind if they're not here. For example, your spiritual master. You can imagine him and imagine yourself at his feet begging for his mercy. Krishna likes that. And the spiritual master likes it insofar as that you are getting rid of your false ego and you're asking, please help me to become totally surrendered to yourself and Krishna. We should not think I'm so surrendered already. Prabhupada used to chip away at the pride and false ego. Sometimes the devotee, he would say, I'm the most fallen, Srila Prabhupada, the most fallen. Prabhupada would say, you are not the most anything. Who are you to think you are the most? This is your big false ego trying to act like you're Mr. Nobody, but really you're trying to tell me you're Mr. Somebody. That's what you're doing. So the devotee would say, that's true, Srila Prabhupada. Externals, we have to learn to get rid of that. Although, on the other hand, we have etiquette we must respect. But don't think because you offer etiquette or you offer your obeisances, that makes you a great saint. Actually, you owe the obeisances to the Lord. You owe the obeisances to great souls. It's your debt. You're working off a debt that you will never be able to fully repay. So what is the idea that I'm doing something spiritual, I'm doing something venerable, something worthy? You're nothing. Yes, absolutely. When you have this mentality, I'm nothing. I'm just a simple, I'm trying to be humble, slave of the Supreme Lord, and He's giving me so much opportunity, which I don't even deserve. If you take this attitude, you'll see how humility develops and inner bliss increases. And it comes by respecting and honoring and valuing. And I see so many people last night, they were all touching my feet and bowing their head. After a while, I was getting dizzy. Really. I know, I'm not used to this kind of thing. So I was simply in my heart, I was simply thanking Krishna, please bless them all, because I'm accepting all this, not on my own behalf, because I owe you, I'm in debt to you, but I accept it all on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and you, my dear Lord Srimad Radha Krishna. This is yours. Please take it. I don't want it. It will corrupt me. Like we had some corrupted files, a few of them, that we had to redo them. You get a corrupted file, it doesn't work. You can't, nothing will come on the screen. Simply on the screen of your heart, nothing's going to come. There will be no love. So we don't want corrupted consciousness. We want the effort to be in pure Krishna consciousness. This is our desire. So is it clear, the points I'm making, that inner life and outer life? You must have an outer life, but don't take pride in it. Don't be identified with it. Don't think you're doing anything wonderful. It's all part of your debt. And your inner life, when Krishna blesses you and you feel some bliss, you feel some peace, you feel some strength, you feel some confidence, or you in your outer life, you get a raise in your paycheck, you get a better position, you're made a vice president, you get some new project, and you've completed. Your boss may pat you on the back. Your co-workers may say, wow, you've got a brain like nobody here has. You're incredible. Outwardly, you just say, thank you very much. Anything you're seeing that's good in me comes from who? From my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and Lord Sri Krishna. So I thank you very much, and I appreciate this is to devotees when they talk to you like this. To the non-devotees, you just say, thank you so much, I very much appreciate. It is my pleasure to serve you. That's all. And when you say that, they will be touched by your humility. They will. I've seen it so many times. They will want to do more for you. Rather than saying, well, I know I always had it, it's just a matter, you never gave me the opportunity to show you my stuff. No, we don't talk like that. That's not devotee talk. And as a result of talking in a nice, humble, modest way, people are always attracted to modest people. They always want to go out of their way to do things. It's natural. I could tell a whole story of some things that happened in my life. So I think I have covered the main points of devotee association and how we become so purified, so strengthened and uplifted. By giving our humility, by giving up our false ego, by throwing ourselves at the feet of these great souls and begging for their mercy, their blessings, their love, their understanding, and their grace, by begging for that as a helpless, incompetent, even though you're all so competent, you all got wonderful brains, don't get puffed up with that. And some of your children are absolutely amazing. I talk to the 7-year-old children, sound like 15-year-old. They speak such beautiful language. Don't get puffed up with that. In your heart of heart, think, this is Krishna. Who is the supreme intelligence? Krishna. So he's manifesting through you and you and you and your child and your wife and all of your associates. So you have nothing. You're empty. You're like a poverty-stricken person. So what is your wealth? What Krishna has given you. We're all wearing clothes. He gave them to us. He could take them away. You go out, he can create a wind and all your clothes get blown off your body. It happens in hurricanes. The shirts get torn. Houses go up, 120-mile winds. Everything goes. God forbid I should be wearing a dhoti. It probably would carry me up into the sky. You get blown up, away. So please always think, I'm nothing, I'm worthless, I'm useless, good for nothing, mindless, and whatever I have comes from Krishna's grace, and I'm so thankful because I don't deserve it. Krishna will be very pleased with this mentality, and he will bless you more and more, give you more intelligence, give you more wealth, give you more wherewithal to serve him more and more. Just as some of you came up with this idea of the USB. That was Krishna. He wanted more devotees to have this opportunity. So some of you who have that kind of brain, he immediately injected the thought, and what he said is we can take these CDs and put them on a USB. That would have taken a long time to do. But I had the USB with all of the different titles of my CDs. I already had it. All you had to do is just put it on your screen and then copy it onto the USBs. And now many devotees will have the USBs. They can plug it in either into those little little MP3 players, or they can put it in I hear into the cars now. You can plug the USB in, and on that screen it comes up. It shows up on the screen the different titles that are there. Is that the way? So Krishna has made it perfect. So he's using your brains, and when he does that, thank him, because you have been instrumental to share with so many hundreds, if not thousands of devotees who will get those. They get the whole set in just for a nominal fee, and just by you opening your mind and your heart to doing more of Krishna's service. So it's so wonderful. We're all being used as instruments, and we should be so grateful and so happy that Krishna is allowing us. He doesn't have to. He's allowing us to be instruments. So I think I've tried to bring out the whole point that all of us, including myself especially, I get so much of this adoration, distinction, and so forth, that we always have to give it away to Krishna. Before you go to bed at night, my dear Lord, whatever honor, distinction, celebration, applause I got, I give it to you. I don't want anything. I just want the ability and the opportunity to go on serving you now and forever. Is that too much to ask? I owe you, and I can never repay you, so at least allow me to try to pay off a debt that I will forever have. Thank you so much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Are there any questions or comments that any of you would like to make? No? Have all of you agree? Oh, we have the microphone? Yeah, not working? Come a little closer.
Prabhu asked one question yesterday regarding the sad things happens to good people.
So I have a follow-up question on the same thing. So how do we understand the tragedy which occurred last May, like 8 or 9 of the devotees perished in the Nepal plane crash? So how should we understand like such things happening to devotees?
You mean when there's a plane crash?
Yeah.
Like how that happens? Well, it means that all of these things we look at because we think that the greatest thing is to be alive. Is it not? We're here and we're benefiting. But sometimes it is not great for certain people. They are ready to move on, sometimes to a higher level or a different planet. They have certain karmic actions and reactions that has to be paid off. And in their present life, they cannot pay those things which they already owed because they have paid off whatever they need to. Sometimes I have something that I have to do some service for you. For example, how old were these devotees? Different ages?
Yeah, different ages. I mean, one girl was 13 or 14 years old, and then.
Yeah. So we all have different debts to pay, okay? And we pay those debts off, and when they are paid, we also have other debts which we cannot pay in those particular families, or in those particular circumstances. We may have to go to even another planet, a lower planet, a higher planet, but we have to move on. Or we may need a family which is going to bring us even to a higher level of consciousness. The main thing is your business is finished in that body, and you now need a different body to continue in your progress in spiritual life. Or maybe you're ready to go back home, back to Godhead. Who can say what the person was thinking of when the crash took place? If a person is thinking of Krishna, then there is a good chance he may go back to Godhead, or he will go into a family that will even give him more facility, more opportunity. As we know from the Bhagavad Gita, it's mentioned that a person who doesn't complete his course of spiritual advancement will be born into a family of righteous persons, or maybe wealthy persons, aristocratic persons, or a family of devotees. So he may be born in one of those to get more facility, more opportunity. Because if you have a father who is a pure devotee, you can make a lot of progress very fast, and if you're ready for that, then it's just like a thirsty person getting a drink of water. So that's the way we have to understand these things, that everything takes place for a certain amount of time. Some of us may be here 100 years, some may be 90, some will be here just a few minutes. They're here a few minutes in this world, and they perish. Baby's born and then dies immediately. And then some will be born in 1 year, and then they have a critical type of accident, and they die. So everyone is here for a certain period of time to fulfill the karmic reaction that they owe. And when they got that fulfilled, if they have others to fulfill in this particular body, in this particular lifetime, in this particular family, they will stay here. But if they are finished with their karma in this lifetime, then especially devotees, then they'll get another family for further advancement. If they have committed some offenses and sins, then they may temporarily get a lower birth and then be promoted to a higher birth. I can only give you a general overview of principles, but I cannot tell you exactly, what this one, that one, but I'm trying to give you the idea of how Krishna decides these things. He knows everyone's heart. He knows where everybody should go, and I think it is mentioned, the living entity in this material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to the next. As the air carries aromas, thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Okay? So there it is. He quits it to take another. Just like the air carries an aroma here, then it moves here. So he smells it, then he moves here, then this person smells the aroma. So you have this family, you finish your business there, and you go on to another family to go on with your advancement. Is that clear to you? Is it? Okay. Right. Any other nice questions that you have to ask? Thank you for your nice question. Appreciate it. So am I going to say farewell now to all of you wonderful devotees who have given me a chance to share with you the glorious teachings that Srila Prabhupada has so mercifully brought us. So I thank you so much. I'm going to be leaving probably in an hour and 15 minutes, and I'll be going back to Los Angeles. And if you ever come to Los Angeles, sometimes I'm traveling, but if I'm there, please make your presence known to me. We can go to Govinda's restaurant. We can have lunch or dinner together. It's my pleasure. I've had the opportunity to meet you, so I would like to continue to foster some relationship. So most of you will be hearing me on those CDs and those MP3s and USBs and all of those things. And but I like to meet you all personally too, because it is a great pleasure, opportunity, and a chance for me to advance by knowing you. I consider you're helping me. You think I'm helping you because, you know, I'm wearing all these clothes and so forth, Prabhupada disciple. But in my mind, you're all helping me to serve Krishna by sitting here instead of running outside, running away. Sometimes I wonder when somebody gets up and walks out, and my first thought, due to my false ego, is that I must have said something foolish or stupid. He's probably walking out. He doesn't want to hear it. But then my next thought is that, well, what makes you think you have anything intelligent to say? Rather, you should be expecting everybody to walk out, and if only 3 people walk out, you're doing pretty well. And therefore, it doesn't bother me anymore when I say, oh, only 3? We still got 50 here who haven't walked out. Wow, I'm doing great today. Really, then you don't feel you don't feel upset or disturbed that anybody's, you know, oh, I don't want to hear him. Even if he doesn't want to, well, that's what I expect. Who am I? I'm such a great speaker. Because a few people say, oh, you speak so nicely, this and that. No, I don't speak nicely. Krishna speaks nicely. If you hear something beautiful, something good, something glorious, that's your credit, Krishna. If I start speaking, they'll all run out. No question about it. But if you speak, they sit here. And only a few who don't like you, maybe they will go out. It's a very easy way to live, and that's how you stay peaceful, really. Nothing upsets you, nothing disturbs you. It's humility which wins the day and the night, and Krishna. Okay? So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I especially thank my host, Damodar Prasad Prabhuji, and his wife and his children. Also Amritananda Prabhuji, who is very helpful in some of his announcements. I stayed at his place last time I was here. Some of the other devotees, Nrityananda Gauranga. Is that right? Nritya Gauranga, who hosted me for lunch yesterday. They made some most delicious lunch. Everybody has been so kind, and I don't know the name of the 2 devotees who served me last night, who prepared the
Arun and Sankita.
Arun and
Sankita.
Sankita?
Sankita.
Sankitan. I thank you very much for the delicious salads that you made me. It was satisfying and filling without making me fall asleep. It was that kind of food. So you all prepared such wonderful food. And some of you persons, again, your names escape my... Chandra is your last name?
Madhava Chandra Das.
Madhava Chandra. Yeah?
Madhava Chandra Das.
Madhava Chandra Das, for your service at the computers, assisting me doing these UBSs, and also giving me some suggestions, and also Taraka Prabhuji. I thank him, and anyone who I've not thanked, of course, Harivilas Prabhuji, who is not here, and also the temple manager, Nanda Kumara. Nanda Sutta, sorry. All of you who have made the arrangements for me to be here, I can't thank you enough. I hope I will get the opportunity to meet you the next time. And I can only say to Harivilas Prabhuji that I was here a few years ago, and the temple has advanced and progressed so amazingly that I can't praise him enough for what he has done. And I hope everything continues in the same way, and maybe he will be kind enough to give me another invite, maybe in 6 months, a year, 3 years, whatever he decides, I will be most grateful for, because I love being with all of you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.